All right, chat, there was something that I wanted to talk about today after having a little bit of a discussion on Twitter. And it was one of the recent topics making rounds. It had me doing a lot of self-reflecting myself because I have been known to partake in the phenomenon that is salt. So I kind of wanted to talk about that today. So here's the tweet that kind of sparked the whole discussion. And this is from Cafe Funk. I believe is like a high-ranked Poison player. I think I played him before in ranked. The name rings a bell. And he said, I won't say names, but in ranked today, I ran into a pro player. Citation needed. What does pro player even mean? So I lurked in his stream. He said that I was a bad player and that if he couldn't beat me, then he knew it was a bad matchup. When I asked why I was bad, he said I was carried. Now I worry, maybe I am trash. And this got me thinking a little bit. Because it sounds like the streamer may have been salty. He might not have been, but it sounded like he was a little bit salty. It sounds like something that I would say if I was salty, right? The reason I would say something in this sort of situation is because I might have gone into this match expecting to win, and when I was met with the opposite result, I was trying to justify why I lost in a manner that was a little bit offensive. This is the part where it ventured from topical discussion about why the loss might have occurred, which a bad matchup can play a role in it. But then when it goes into the personal sort of judgment of the player you're playing against saying you're carried, that's to me where it enters the salt zone, right? And so people were talking about how, oh, this was wrong, people shouldn't talk that way, yada yada. And it just got me thinking, like, there's so many different types of salt out there, and the differences in being a competitive player and being salty versus being a streamer and being salty really got me thinking about how we treat salt in the FGC, because I am no stranger to salt. I think my default behavior is to be extremely, disgustingly salty. Not in an attractive manner at all. I mean, ugly, meltdown, pathetic, sad salt. I've gone through several controllers prior to streaming. My first arcade stick, which my parents got me for Christmas, I lost to an online Vega in Street Fighter 4, and then I took a moment, I took a breath, I spiked my stick on the ground, and then I curb stomped it. And then I took the remnants of that stick, which bent around my foot, and then I threw it in the dumpster. And then I came back inside, and I said, Mom, I destroyed my arcade stick. And then she said, what? Why? And then I said, I don't know. And I told her, I really regret doing that. I immediately regretted doing that. And I just laid in bed thinking, what the fuck is wrong with me? That was my first arcade stick. That's what sent me back to pad, because I actually started playing on pad. And then I've been through at least 3 pads from spiking them. I mean, I would spike them, make sure they're still functional, get back to it. But, you know, one spike too many from losing online. And then the button stopped working, and then I just spike it again to make sure it was done, put it out of its misery. So I've always had those moments. I've always been that way. And I've had to consciously work on stopping that kind of behavior, because I realized it wasn't productive for me. Didn't make me feel good. And it ruined a hobby that I enjoyed. Like, those moments soiled the rest of my experience with the hobby. And then it also got me thinking of, like, when did I start to control this behavior? And it really coincided with me starting to stream. With all the discussion that occurred around this, I think what people were focusing on is the responsibility of a streamer not being toxic in their salt and thwarting off the community. I think there's different flavors to salt. There's different ways to approach it. There's different ways to make it fun, possibly entertaining. And then there's like self-destructive meltdowns, which nobody wants to watch, are embarrassing and burn bridges, potentially deter people from entering the community, right? Like, there's different ways to flavor it. I thought we'd look at some classic examples of salt, and we should observe the differences. So I hate to bring Sanford into the mix. I mean, it's a classic moment. I kind of have to bring it up because this represents a tournament environment. It's a classic. I've been there too.
Not enough. Now what?
What a read.
With the read on the axe kick. He's got to be sad after that.
You got to be salty after that.
He hadn't won the previous round.
Wow,
Whoa,
there it is.
He is that salty.
Wow, he just broke his buttons too. I hope that's not.
Damn, Sanford Kelly.
Wow.
Young Smug popping off there too. And then they show the destruction to the stick.
All right.
But let's consider this environment. It was an extremely close tournament match. Sanford lost in a comeback scenario. He had the lead. I mean, in the beginning, this instant overhead. Oh, let's not go this direction. And a different universe, this instant overhead right here sealed the deal, right? I mean, that is Magic Pixel as Magic Pixel can get. So you can understand his frustrations with the loss, because once The attempted kill move failed. He went for the chip kill. Rico read it brilliantly, mind you. Got the punish and put him into a guess situation for game. And then that was just an unbelievable read there. Able command grab character. There's like 50 ways to die there once you get knocked down. Rico guessed the backdash or the jump away. This beats both options. And he got the win. So I can understand being upset. Obviously, I think smashing your stick is a bit extreme. I've been there, but I get it. But here's the thing. After this moment, Sanford walks out of frame off stream. The show goes on. We get the reactions from the victor. We see the crowd. We see the commentators observing the damage. He walks off stream. That's the end of his appearance in this video. I think there's something very different about that. Being a salty moment in a stream in a tournament versus being the salty streamer. So let's observe some streamer salty moments. I also hate to drag James Chen into this, but this is one of, I've had this video bookmarked for a long time. It would be very therapeutic for me to watch this video whenever I was getting frustrated with the game.
God damn it, fucking low blocked! KO. Fucking low blocked, I knew that was coming, this fucking input lag. Fucking hell! God damn it! Fuck!
I know exactly what he's feeling right there. I know exactly what he's feeling right here. I have so much empathy for James in this moment. It's not sympathy. I don't feel bad for him. I just know exactly what he feels like. I can feel it watching him. The difference here is there's the rage,
Fucking hell!
but there's this self-destructive component.
Damn it! Piece of fucking shit!
There's this self-destructive, self-loathing element to it, which is where you enter the salt vortex. The difference between this clip and Sanford Kelly's clip is James is the show. There is no escape. You can't walk out of frame. You got to end the stream. There's no crowd reaction like, whoa, James, that was nuts, ha ha ha. There's no other commentators to cut to. This is the show.
He was gonna load. Of course he's gonna load. I fucking try to block and he just won't fucking block. Fuck.
It's a very different dynamic, but at no point was James mad at his opponent. James was frustrated at himself. He didn't insult his opponent. He didn't question their skill. He didn't question the actions they took. There was no blame shifting. He was just frustrated with his own inability to, one, execute the moves that he thought he was trying to do, and his own incompetence as a Tekken 7 player. That was the only thing he called into question there. It's something you gotta think about as a streamer. It's different. Here's another example of a streamer getting salty.
Jimmy, who does that? Who does that? Oh, you son of a bitch. Oh, shit. Alright, it's cool, no problem. Oh, good, I got this right here. Watch this. Oh, watch this. He's not gonna duck. I gotta figure it out. Stab on him, and then he's weakening the leg, and now he's ducking. Look at that. It's so easy! Don't do that. That's a big fucking mistake, player! Step on this dumb motherfucker. Yeah, I know you like that. I know you like that! Don't do that! Don't ever fly in the air like that! That is a huge error! Oh, I'm just gonna jab like that? No need to calculate anything. Big fucking mistake doing that! I don't need a combo. I don't even give a shit about that. There's a delay there. Step on it. I'm just gonna step on this guy all day. Hey, let me see those shoes. Check those shoes out, player. Return those. I hope you save the receipt. Save the receipt! Oh, fuck, I could've punished that. Oh, you don't like that shit. Don't even do that. That's a big mistake. Ah! Come on, amigo. Come on. Give me that leg. Give me that leg, you dumb motherfucker. I'm taking a cigarette break. I hate this game online. Ugh! Playing this game online is so bad for your health. I can feel it in my neck. I can feel it in my neck. Oh my god.
And you see in this clip, Eris did everything that I was saying that James Chen did not do. Eris 100% resorted to insulting his opponent for the entirety of the salt moment. He didn't express any frustration with his own gameplay. He only expressed frustration with the decision making of his opponent and how he was frustrated with it, and then how he actually verbalized how he downloaded and countered his opponent's decisions. Even though he was insulting his opponent the whole time, I don't think that player would have gone onto Twitter and typed out what Cafe Funk said. And you could say that everything Eris said, which was calling his opponent a dumb motherfucker several times in an extremely aggressive, loud, angry tone, might have been more harsh than saying he was carried and calling it a day. But I don't think if the Tekken player that lost there went back and watched the stream, I don't think he would feel the way Cafe Funk feels about it. And I think that's where, as a content creator, you have to keep in mind that there's different types of salts and how to use that salt effectively. James Chen getting salty on stream, it's funny in a vacuum, but if you were to watch a stream for too long, it becomes depressing. It's not something you can watch for a long time. It becomes too aggravating. You feel too much empathy. It's not good. You cannot stand to see this for too long. The longer the stream goes on, the deeper down the spiral you go. It's too real. Real salt, real despair. The salt is flavored with some despair. Too real. But Eris' salt, this is fucking unreal. None of this is real. The things he's saying are so ridiculous that you don't feel like it's hitting a nerve. I mean, his nerves are obviously being hit, but it doesn't hit a nerve for you. There's so many quotable moments from this scene that everybody involved is entertained. Maybe not Eris. Eris is the only person not having fun here. But you could be this guy he's beating up and insulting, and you could laugh at this. And I think as a fighting game streamer, as a competitive gaming streamer, especially in a small community, in a one-on-one type of game, you gotta be able to weaponize your salt in the right way to produce the right content. I can watch Eris get salty if this is how it goes down. I can't watch James Chen get salty. And when I get salty, I know I have a choice. I can either get over it and not get salty, or I can use that salt. And if I use that salt, I have a number of ways to take it. I can try to go to the Eris route, turn it into something comedic that doesn't alienate the audience. The player here has done nothing wrong. The opponent in these situations has done nothing but play the game. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing. You can either try to weaponize it in that sense, or you can go the James Chen route, which is what you don't want to do. You do not want to get into the salt vortex. And I was entering the salt vortex last night. We won't put that in the video. This is going to YouTube. Editor, don't include the clips of me going down the salt vortex. It was happening. I was feeling it. Ooh, man, I was feeling it. I feel this way about once every 2 weeks. I know what it's like all too well. So I think just as a streamer, it doesn't make sense to be toxic on this level, because I just don't think it works for good content. That's one point. The other point is there's no walking away from it. You have to own it. You can't pull Stanford Kelly and walk off frame. You are the star of the show, and the show goes on. Everything you say there has weight. You have this microphone in front of you. You have an audience. You have clips. You have Twitter. You have archives. Everything you're saying is permanent on the internet. And I think that's where people forget that their words have weight. And this is where I think the reality check of it's a small world comes into play. And that's where I have a story where I've personally been impacted by this. You might wonder why I would be whispering to someone on Twitch an apology. Well, let me give you the backstory. As you guys know, I hate Geef and everything Geef represents. While playing online ranked in Street Fighter V, I went on my typical anti-Geef tirade, calling every Geef player carried. This character's so dumb, walking casino, takes no skill, this, that, and the third. And then 5 minutes in, I see the name of the Geef player in my chat, and that man's name was Grayscar. And he said, "Damn, dude, I'm just trying to learn." I instantly felt like the biggest asshole in the world. I was like, I'm an asshole. Like, this guy could have potentially been a fan of my stream, a fan of my content, excited to play me in ranked. I used to be like just a stream monster, and I would be excited to play against popular streamers, and I would want to see their reaction, hope I impressed them with my gameplay, right? But I was going in on this guy, in on Geef players, and I was like, instantly just like foot in my mouth. I was like, what am I doing? This was just another guy trying to play the game and trying to improve. I went about the salt the wrong way. It crossed the barrier from being funny, outrageous, like me being exasperated, going Eris style. It wasn't even James Chen style. I was being toxic and using my platform to tear someone else down because of my own shortcomings. Once the stream had ended, I thought about it, and then I messaged the guy to apologize. And I realized I was being ugly, right? I was being ugly. 3 months later, wow, I never expected you to respond. Instant respect. I always was a fan of your streams. I like that you bring a level of intelligence to the game that's unmatched. Yeah, I know I'm not the best Geef, and I can't always communicate to pad what my mind is thinking, so it may seem random, but I'm trying. Thanks for replying, bro. Van reinstated. 3 months later, and I was like, yes. Like, I felt like I had wronged somebody. And then it just sat. We squashed it. We're good. And you would think that's the end of the road. Now enter Absolute Battle 8 2017. This season was 2017 season 2. I was going to every tournament. And I remember seeing the names in this bracket, and I was like, huh, some of these names sound kind of familiar. We got Punk in there, we got Javi, Hemi, some Chuns, Brian F, and a guy named Grayscar. Where do I know that guy from? August 25th, 1 month after he accepted my apology. Where do I know that name from? Come pool's time, it's like 8 a.m. It was pool 1. Way too early for a gamer like myself to be up and functioning. Sitting around the pool area, waiting for tournament to start, and some guy comes up and introduces himself to me. You know, we just start shooting the shit, talking, and he's like, oh yeah, you looking out for anyone in this pool? And I was like, oh, you know, Punk, you heard of that guy? Best player in the world? Might be my chance to take him down. Might be my chance to... No, that didn't happen. He says to me, I heard there's some Geef player in the pool too. And I was like, oh yeah, some Geefs in the pool? He says, yeah. I think his name is Dark Scar, Gray Scar, something, White Scar, I don't know. And I was like, oh, I think I saw that name too. Yeah. And he's like, yeah. And then we're kind of like sitting there chilling for a second. And I was like, so you're a Gray Scar, huh? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I figured that was you. Gray Scar was about 2 inches taller than me, which would make him about 6'4", 6'5". And I think he weighed twice my weight, and his shoulders were the size of my head. And I was like, you're Grayscar. I'm not used to feeling small in an FGC room. He's like, yeah, I'm Grayscar. And then I was like, damn, I'm happy I apologized. I'm happy I apologized. It was like a fucking movie, you know what I mean? Like, you always assume the least threatening version possible of the opponent you're playing against. In fact, they're not even human when you're playing them. When you're playing online, it's a faceless entity that represents everything you hate. And it's like this road rage effect where they're less than human. The further away you are from them socially, you're socially removed, they lose their humanity. And you just hate everything about them. You don't give them any benefit of the doubt. And I thought, wow, this would have been really funny if I got my ass beat. It would have been really funny and deserved. I guess my point is, it shouldn't matter if your opponent isn't 6'4" and Geef IRL. You should probably consider that there's a human on the other end of it. Not that you can't get salty, but it's something to keep in mind. I've been through it firsthand. I realized, you know, FGC is a small world. I'm going to see these people, and I got to be able to look them in the eye and admit to the things I've said on stream. Even if I've lost in the most bullshit, ridiculous way that would never happen in a million years, even if I got robbed, even if it lagged, even if I am the better player and they got lucky that one time and never beat me anymore, even if all those things are true, there's a human on the other end of it. You got to know that. I'm not saying you have to always be sunshine and rainbows. I'm not saying you can't talk shit. I'm just saying it's something to keep in mind. Flavor your salt correctly, or else you might face the consequences.